It's supposed to feel.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to NS9LIVE. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we got Jim. We got Tyler. Happy Thursday night, everyone.
What's going on? Last time we did one of these, we were poolside in Bradenton.
Yes.
And
Jim
now
wanted
it's
to strangle me.
I don't think he said strangle. I think he just
I
said
don't think I
kill.
said that either. I think I said, actually, I think I did use the word strangle.
You might have.
Yeah.
But hey, we all got a good tan going on. Like it's 45 degrees where Jim and I are probably, but we're back to real life, fellas.
52.
52?
75.
Okay. Yeah.
Back to real life.
Yep.
I'm just noticing, like, you guys are just so mundane. If I don't speak, you're just like, hi.
Well, you are the host of the show. So
I know I got to do a lot of work.
We're again, we're
Jim's
the
ready to
talent,
strangle
you're
me
the
again.
host. So like,
Well, Jim, I'm joining you.
We're
Can
just here. Yeah, we're here just reacting to you. So yeah.
Well, I'm
This isn't on
glad
us.
we're all back together. Not actually physically together, though, unfortunately, this time. But it's another NS9LIVE. It's we're like 2 weeks into spring training now. So there's a lot to I feel like there's a lot to talk about tonight. Even though it's spring training, it's still early. I think there's enough data for us to, unlike last week, it was like the very first week, right? Like I feel like this week there's a little more data. There's enough to talk to gauge some interest, and there's a lot of battles and stuff going on. The Pirates signed another pitcher, so there's kind of a lot to talk about tonight. Where do you guys want to start?
Not with the pitcher they signed.
I mean, I guess we could hit on it real quick, right? I mean, we don't want to spend too much time on it, but yeah,
a lot of guys hit on it last year, so we might as well do as well.
Ken Rosenthal today says the Pirates minor league deal with Eric Lauer. And again, it's a minor league deal. There's no reason to get upset over it. Was Eric Lauer absolutely terrible last year? Yeah. But he's also just like that 1 year removed from being a pretty decent pitcher in the major league. So it's if you're looking at minor league deals, like there's no reason to complain about this one. I'm good with it. But it's kind of just like every other thing this team has done this offseason, where in a vacuum, the move's just fine, but it's still just another thing that they're doing that's not really going to move the needle at all.
No, it doesn't move the needle. Like you said, though, Jim, he is a year removed from being a pretty serviceable major league pitcher. Last year, the velocity dropped pretty heavily. So I guess it's another one of those cases where we watch out for the velocity. If he does perform in the minor leagues, then, I mean, maybe it's something there, but not counting on it and not upset about it. It's just kind of a thing.
Right. Can I mention something about the velocity, though? Like I know that's a concern. Like obviously in 2022, he was hitting like 93.3. Year before that, 92.5. But like for most of his career, he was sitting about 92. And last year was at 91.2. So like I just want to preface it because yes, he lost a lot of velocity from like year over year from last year to this year. Well, from 2 years ago to last year. But it wasn't like that was the guy that he was for his entire career either. Like there was like a spike in his velocity more or less in that year. So I just want to kind of put that out there. He was kind of pitching more to his velocity norms last year than the year before.
It's still like a full tick down.
It was. I mean, it's like 2 ticks down from last year.
I know,
but
from
it was like a half tick down last year
compared to the lowest it has ever been. But yeah, I mean, again, it's a minor league signing. He's 1 year removed from being a pretty good pitcher. It's hard to complain about it. My guess is, I mean, it's depth, right? Like if somebody wants to tell me Eric Lauer is better than Bailey Falter, like I'm not I'm not going to really argue that hard with them. So, like, there's not really a reason to be upset about this move in any way.
It is nice to get a guy that we're not looking back 5 years ago and saying, well, he was good back in 2018. At least like he was good relatively recently.
That's fair.
Right. But I think we spent enough time talking about Eric Lauer, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm good.
That's fair enough. I was just going to add here too. I mean, it's more or less like, yeah, I have no issues with the move. He's been actually a fine pitcher for most of his career, come to San Diego and then Milwaukee. So like, it's whatever. It's funny because like there's a ton of depth on this team. Again, it's not much quality depth, but like there's a ton of depth. So he just kind of adds to it. Whatever. All right. So since we're done with that,
the more important news is the Penguins traded Jake Gensel tonight.
Did that go through? Did it go to Carolina?
That's what I'm seeing. Yeah.
Well, I just saw that it was close. So,
but you know what that means? That means instead of Jake Shakes, we need to do Jack Shakes. Do Jack Swinski homers. 2024 All-Star, Jack Swinski.
I'm fine with that. Because
also we need a Milkshake Factory kind of, been off the hook here. They're offering half price milkshakes like throughout the winter. They need a summer half off shake. That's what they need.
I think that adds to it. What I was going to say is like, I think you could probably guess O'Neal Cruz has the potential to hit the most home runs on the team, but Jack Swinski could definitely second most. So we can argue all day long, like how good of a player he is, the batting average, all in that, but he's going to hit bombs. So I'm good with the Jack Swinski Milkshake Factory deal.
Yeah.
And it's at home. The home away splits a couple years ago. Maybe they were back.
I don't know what the Milkshake Factory is.
Well, it's kind of if you put the two words together, Milkshake Factory.
Yeah. Thanks, Jim.
It makes
really
you think it's the place. It makes you think it's a place that has milkshakes. They specialize in those sort of things. It's like going to the pants store, right, to buy your pants. You go to the Milkshake Factory for your milkshakes.
The jerk
lids,
store called.
Now it really does make sense. It makes sense why they call it lids.
Good job. We're off to a great start.
So much.
Anyway,
I like this one, O'Neal's Oreo shake. I could go for an O'Neal's Oreo shake too.
I mean, sure. Why are we talking about milkshakes?
Because we're talking about Penguins, apparently.
Because DiNardo's the host here, and he hasn't brought us anything relevant to talk about yet. So
we talked about Eric Lauer.
So I had to step up.
All right. Well, let's get into some spring training stuff here. I think, honestly, like, the biggest news, and it shouldn't be big, but I feel like the biggest news is the fact that, as Alex Stump put out there on Twitter the other day, Jared Jones is technically battling for a roster spot in this rotation. Now, I say that because not for the fact that he's not pitching well, because he is. I mean, he was hitting 100 plus on the radar gun his last start, but he's a rookie. He's a prospect, put it that way. Not even just a rookie. He's a prospect. He's never seen MLB. And Pirates opening day, top 100. Jared Jones? Is this like real, or is this, we're just talking out our left side of our mouth today?
Tyler, you want that one?
I guess so.
It always goes to Tyler. We're talking about a pitcher.
Yeah, I guess we're just going to talk about pitching. Let's throw it to Tyler. I actually, if we remember back, I said that I'd be interested in seeing him in the opening day rotation just based upon what they have at this point. I'm not for or against him being in the rotation at this point. I got to see how this shakes out. You got to see more from him in spring training. Jim always mentions the efficiency's not there with him, and it's something he does have to improve, especially in order to be a major league pitcher. I think he averaged 4.85 innings in the minors last year per outing, which is just not good enough. I think where I'm at with him right now is if it's between Jared Jones and Bailey Falter, I'm all aboard. Just do it with Jared Jones. I don't need to see Bailey Falter pitch at all in this rotation. If we're between maybe a Luis Ortiz and a Jared Jones, I think upside-wise, they're pretty similar. So I might lean more Ortiz there. But Jones is also in an interesting situation where, being that top 100 prospect, there is some upside there for the Pirates to start him on opening day with the team. It's probably a very long shot that they would get anything out of it, but there is something to be had with that. So I guess it depends on who are your options there for that spot in the rotation. Because to me, if it's Ortiz and Jones, I might lean more Ortiz. If it's Falter Jones, I'm going Jones.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, I do not want Bailey Falter in this rotation. When we talked about Lauer a little bit before, I think Eric Lauer is a better pitcher than Bailey Falter. So if we're talking about Lauer signing a minor league deal, not starting on the team, I don't see a reason why Bailey Falter should be on this team. Maybe you throw him in the bullpen just because he has no options, and like you want to see if you can maybe get something out of him. Like I could be okay with that, I think. But I'm not putting Bailey Falter in this rotation. So right now you're looking at those two final spots basically coming down to Contreras, Ortiz, and I think Jones is in that mix. I like the upside of Jones. Watching him the other day, hit 101.1 or 2 on the gun, so he's above 101 even by Tyler's standards. I mean, and that's impressive. You don't see too many starting pitchers do that. You did bring up a big concern there. Like, is he actually a starting pitcher, right? Last year, I just did the quick math. He averaged under 5 innings per game in the minors.
4.85?
4.85. Yeah.
It's like
yeah. So I just wanted to do the math real quick. So, yeah, like, can you really trust this guy to be a major league starter? I don't know. I've got my concerns on that. But if the option is Jones or Falter, I'm probably going to go Jones. Contreras, obviously I want to see more of him. But I think it's like, in my mind, it's you got to pick 2 out of those 3 guys: Contreras, Jones, and Ortiz. Those are my 3 guys to fill those 2 spots. And with the way this bullpen is, like, you've got some length in the bullpen too. And what I mean by that is you've got guys who can pitch multiple innings. So you don't need that 5th starter necessarily to go out there and be like an innings eater. If that 5th starter is someone who you can rely on to get 4 or 5 good innings from every time out, like, I'll take that. So I don't necessarily know if you need like that prototypical workhorse there, but I mean, it's impossible not be just like really, really excited about Jared Jones's stuff. It looks really good right now. And I know it's spring training, so results don't really matter, but the stuff itself is legit. Like, it's really good. And there's a reason to be excited about him. The draft pick thing you brought up, I don't really think you're making any sort of opening day moves because of a potential draft pick that you could win. I think it's just kind of like a bonus that, it's a cherry on top. If Jared Jones is one of your 5 best starting pitchers, then Jared Jones should be in the rotation. If he's not, then he shouldn't be. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. And I think right now there's a legit competition between those 3 guys: Ortiz, Jones, Contreras. Falter's pitching his way out of it right now.
Those are all really good points. I just want to go back to the inning stuff. I agree. I want to put it there. I agree. He has to prove more that he can last long into the game to prove like he's a good starter. But, I kind of recall us talking about Jared Jones much early into the season, where it seemed as if like it was almost intentional, right, Jim? Like, we talked how many times like it was like he was at like 73 pitches and they pulled him like in the 4th inning. So it almost seemed like, I don't want to fault him too much because it seemed like there was a lot of it maybe by design, at least early on in the season in that. But you're absolutely correct too. You know, like he also hasn't proven that he's a guy who can go out there for 7 innings. He tends to throw a lot more balls than you want to see, right? He doesn't just like flood the strike zone. So make a valid point there. And I guess where I'm at too is I want an innings eater or a guy who's going to go out 4 and be like lights out, you know, and because I feel like with this team, outside of Mitch Keller, like, is there anyone that you truly trust to give you like 150 plus? Not really. Right. So that's why, like, I would have liked the Kyle Gibson type on this team because he would have like helped out this rotation, helped out the bullpen. But there is some depth. And again, because they added Chapman, there is some depth. Now that might change with Moretta's injury, but someone can come in and fill that spot, right? Like there is still some good quality depth. There's a lot of arms. They can play the game where they're putting people up in the minors and majors and such. So like with that said and knowing that, if Jared Jones give you like 4 1/3, 4 2/3, 5 occasionally innings of just like really, really good starts, then yes, I will take that. Absolutely. Knowing that he can maybe only go 5, 6 max. The thing about the draft pick though, go out there and get it. I think, like you said, like Bailey Falter is not showing anything right now. I don't trust Bailey Falter to begin with. Jared Jones, and again, it's early. We know that with numbers and such, but like, yes, like he looks like the more productive pitcher. He looks like the better pitcher, just plain and simple. If he's one of your best 5, like this is what we talk about, have the balls, like go out there and do it. This is a very valid point Bridget Bucktober puts out here about like the rookies that are in the NL that will be fighting for the top 3 positions and such. And okay. So you're going to play scared or you're going to go try? Because the worst comes to worst, like if he doesn't produce and he's not playing well, and you just send him back down. It's that simple. Get a new guy up here. You know, but like you said, Jim, if you're looking at like one of the top 5 guys, go out there and do it. And then say, here, kid, prove to me, prove to the world, get yourself some extra money. Get us a draft pick. I love it. Finally, like there's an opportunity that there might be someone that they're doing this with. Granted, it is Jared Jones. It's not like an upper echelon. It's not like the O'Neill Cruz, the Paul Skeens, and, you know, like the NDs that we've had in the past. But like Jared Jones, you see what he's got. Like you said, Jim, 101.2. That's exciting. Show me what you got, kid. Prove it to me. I'll give you the opportunity.
Yeah, and he's going to have to earn it here throughout spring training. He needs to be a little bit better results-wise as well because he's still not getting the swings and misses with the stuff he has. He should be missing a lot more bats at this point. But if you really look at Jared Jones here, he's almost the perfect replacement for Oviedo. They do a lot of things pretty similarly where they're not super efficient, but when they're lights out, they can probably be pretty lights out. If we're looking for more of an innings eater at that point, unfortunately, your only option is probably Quinn Priester. He will eat innings, but they will be not very quality innings. But if you're looking for an innings eater, that's really the one option you have. At this point, as you both have said, it comes down to who's the best arm out of this group. And that's who you have to go with.
Yeah, I will push back a little bit on the swing and miss thing. Looking at his start on Tuesday that he had against the Blue Jays. I guess you could say he didn't get the whiffs, right? There was a 1 whiff on 15 fastballs, but no one put one in play either. There were a lot of called strikes. There were some foul balls, but like no one put his fastball in play. And he threw 15 of them. So you're throwing 15 fastballs and no one can get it put in play, then I'm not as concerned with the whiff percentage because people just weren't hitting it. Like I said, 4 called strikes, the whiff, it was being extremely effective. This cutter that Baseball Savant has him throwing, I mean, I'm assuming that's just kind of like his slider cutter. They're kind of depending on what they're calling it, but it's not getting hard. It's not getting hit hard. The curveball's not getting hit hard. He's looked really, really impressive. And like Donardo, you bring up, yeah, you might as well go for it. Like if And that's what I mean. Like if you think Jared Jones is one of your top 5 guys, put him in that rotation. If he shows you that he's not, then you can always send him back down. Like it's that easy. Like you're not going to ruin his career if in May 10th, he's got a 5.5 ERA, and you're like, you know what, you've got some things you need to work on. Go down to AAA, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like I'm in win now mode, and if Jared Jones is the guy to win now, then Jared Jones is the guy to win now. Plain and simple. I'm not worrying about service time or anything like that with Jared Jones.
Amen. So are we, I want to say nervous, probably the best word. Are we nervous about Quinn Priester?
I don't know if
I don't know
if nervous is the word. I'm like, are
we over?
I'm out on him right now. Like, I'm not saying he couldn't figure it out, but like, I don't think you can, with what we've seen from Quinn Priester last year and what we've seen so far this spring, I don't really have much interest in him starting in the rotation right now.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what he does in AAA. But for the most part, he's pretty close to being written off in my book.
Okay. And I guess that's why I do say nervous, because I'm not ready to write him off. I think it's still kind of premature to just write him off. But I guess if you're the Eric Longenhagen school of thought, you just write him off because the things that he struggles on, I guess you kind of look and say like it's not really there. But yeah, like, to me, I guess I'm not ready to, but I think he's much closer to being a non-major league pitcher than he is being one. And so that's what makes this all the more interesting, because, we talked about the Rowansies, the Ortiz, and the Quinn Priesters, and now Jared Jones is sneaking up on there because the Quinn Priester is still just not looking like that dude. And Rowansie and Ortiz are looking optimistic. I'll put it that way. But yeah, Jared Jones has now put himself in that conversation legitimately.
And I don't think that Priester's looked bad this spring at all. I think he's done exactly what I'd hoped he would do. He's getting the soft contact. It's just that the velocity's not there, and he just still isn't missing bats. He's not getting Ks. He's not walking people, which is a positive, but it's just, it's missing. There's going to be too much hard contact against him. Too many balls in play.
I think you're right. Like I don't have any like issues with what he's done so far. It's been 4 innings of work. I think he's looked just fine, but I don't think he's done anything to show me like he's a different guy this year than he was last year. I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. And if you're looking at the people who are competing for that spot, I'm probably the highest on Ortiz at this moment in time. Like I think he's probably got the best shot at landing one of those rotation spots. I think Priester's on the outside looking in. I'm not ready to give up on him though, because I think the things that are his problem, right, which is basically his fastball shape, I think those are things that can be fixed. It's just a matter of figuring out how to fix it.
Tread.
But
right. Okay. Well, so that's interesting. So I guess, are we done with Jared Jones? I'm going to move on to like another battle that's kind of heating up.
Sounds good to me.
How about right now? Who are your two? Who are those 4 or 5 starters right now in your mind?
Well, we know Keller.
4 or
we know
5.
Perez.
We know the top 3.
4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5. Who are they? Right now on March 7th. There's still 3 more weeks.
Mine, or who do I project?
Yours.
Why does he make it difficult?
I'm going to go Rowansie and Jared Jones.
Okay, I was saying you can't say Skeens. How about that? Yeah. Okay. All right. So you're leaving out today. You're leaving out the one I'm most confident in.
Luis Ortiz. That's fine. I'm kind of encouraged about Rowansie right now. And I like what I see out of Jared Jones right now. Okay. But to me, they're all like kind of right here anyways. I guess it's just preference.
Tyler?
So what I would actually like to see is probably Jones and Ortiz, but I probably lean more Rowanzi and Ortiz because of the options issue with Rowanzi, and I want to give him one more opportunity in the major leagues as a starting pitcher before I completely move on from him or move him to the pen. So I think I probably go that route. But if options aren't an issue, which they are, I'm going Jones and Ortiz, I think.
That's fair. I mean, to me, Romanzi's on this club because he has to be.
Right, but it's about whether he's in the rotation or not at that point.
Right. And I get that. And like,
And I'm not
there's
ready
an
to move him
argument.
to the pen.
That's where I'm at. I'm not ready to make that move as of yet. Not so far from what I've seen from him, but like he could be the Dowry Moretta replacement. Like that could be how you do that, right? You have Ortiz and Jared Jones in there, and you put Rowanzi in the bullpen. I'm just not ready to go there yet either. I'd rather much have Luis Ortiz optioned or Jared Jones optioned, and have Rowanzi in the rotation to start.
To me, we're beyond optioning Ortiz. He's got to be in the major league. He's too old to go down to AAA again.
Okay, that's fair. He can also be the Moretta replacement.
Fair enough.
Or Jared Jones is 2 or 3 extra innings that he needs to complete his start.
And Jim?
The season ends right now. It's Ortiz and Jones for me. Contreras is in the bullpen.
I think that's perfect.
3 weeks to fight it out.
Yeah, I mean, my mind could change tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, your mind's already made up.
Someone get hurt tomorrow, and then all that changes as well. So,
to me, as long as it's 2 of those 3, and Bailey Falter is not one of them, I'm okay.
I don't know how Bailey Falter. I mean, as of right now, like Bailey Falters look terrible.
Because this team loves to make sure they have as many guys available as possible, and options will come into play.
I'm cool with Falter starting in the rotation and in the bullpen. I mean, as of now.
Yeah, maybe one of the other 29 clubs. He can start in their bullpen. I don't want him here.
No. I'm okay with.
Let me throw this right back at you, Jim. Why?
Yeah,
because I think he'd be one of the best 8 relievers on the team.
Like truly?
Yeah.
Why?
Because there's 8 slots. I think he'd be number like 8.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not saying I think he'll be there. For some reason, the Pirates really like him. And I think they'll find a way. Like, again, options will come into place. So they're going to have him on this team in some capacity, most likely. But again, like Cherington has also moved off some players that we thought that would be in this situation. It's just, again, like I don't think he's had the love for Falter as it seems like he does. Or he's had the love for those players as it seems like he does for Falter. But I'm perfectly comfortable going another direction than Bailey Falter on this club in any capacity.
I guess my thing,
I think
last year Bailey Falter was very successful out of the bullpen last year.
But that was like, wasn't that more with an opener?
He's in Japan.
No, but I mean he was like as a non-starter, he was very good.
But that
1.02 ERA out of the bullpen last year. I'm not saying he's going to put up a 1.02 ERA, but I mean you look at the other stuff too. Like he was a better pitcher out of the bullpen than he was a reliever. I think he could be a useful guy as like that long reliever. If you need someone to, and we're talking about how like a lot of these pitchers can't go deep into games, right? Let's say if Jared Jones gives you 4 strong innings and all of a sudden you bring in Bailey Falter, it's a completely different look too. Where like, you just saw Jared Jones throw 100 miles an hour for 4 innings from the right side. And now all of a sudden you see Bailey Falter come in from the left side, throwing 91, 92, right? With just junk, with long extension. Like I think there's a path for Bailey Falter to be put in good situations on this team.
Basically what Jim said there was that you go from one good pitcher to a bad pitcher, and it's a different look.
Yeah.
It's not what I said. It's not what I said.
That's how I took it.
It's the art of pitching. Like the art of pitching,
is.
keeping people off balance. Bailey Falter, I think, could serve a role on this team of just giving people a completely different look from what they saw out of your starter. Whether that starter is Ortiz, whether that starter is Jones. Like Bailey Falter comes in, he's like a completely different guy that throws the hitter's timing off. And you don't have to pitch him for 3-4 innings. You do it for 1 or 2, and now you're into the part of your bullpen you want to get to.
I'll say that's
what
fair.
I just think there's a role for him. Yeah.
I think that's fair. That's 100% fair. But I guess like Rowanzy or Ortiz could do that also. Minus the velocity
Not
difference. Like, I
necessarily.
get that. But like if your issue is Jones is gonna go deep, you want someone that's gonna have some longevity. Like Rowanzy and Ortiz could do that. And yes, I know they don't throw 90, 91
already.
That's the problem. I get that.
Yeah.
But at any rate, I don't know. I think it's going to happen.
I mean, I'd be okay with Falter in the bullpen as a long guy that kind of just eats innings for you there. Because you do have to have a guy like that to do that. And he has had some success just results-wise at the major league level in his career. It's been a limited sample, but his ERA is not terrible as a major league pitcher. He does kind of profile as that long reliever, like Jemar Gomez type of dude. So, yeah, I mean, if you need a guy to eat some innings, I'm okay because there are a lot of guys in the bullpen right now that are 1-inning guys. So you do need someone that's going to have a little length to him.
And he's had success out of the bullpen. He's had success out of the bullpen his whole career.
I don't consider coming in as after an opener out of the bullpen.
Okay. Well, he had success doing that then. Like
he did.
The dude's had success at the major league level when you put him in situations that he's most likely to succeed in. So find a way to do it.
All right.
I think we're all in agreement that as long as he's not in the rotation on opening day, whatever
none of us
happens,
want him in the
we're
none
good.
of us want him in the rotation. Yeah.
That's a perfectly fine argument.
And
the
actually,
rotation,
Bucko,
no, but like if he's your 8th guy in the bullpen, there's worse things to complain about.
And Bucko Mike actually
personally wouldn't.
Bucko Mike actually brings up in the chat Fleming as a long reliever option as well. Like if I'm given the option of
actually
Fleming and Bailey Falter, I'm taking Falter
over Fleming.
Yeah.
Probably. I probably am too. Also, I mean, Fleming's a minor league deal. Like
he can play the options game.
And again, like if we're going just by results, Bailey Falter has better numbers out of the bullpen for his career than Josh Fleming. Like plain and simple.
Okie dokie.
Actually, they're about the same.
We're arguing over a long reliever at this point.
That's true. They're interchangeable. Let's be honest.
They really are.
Yeah.
We couldn't talk about
in the bullpen.
Eric Lauer for more than 2 minutes, and we spent 20 on Bailey Falter.
Let's move on.
This is why you tune in, baby.
All right. So the other position that I was talking about that there seems to be a battle on is the second base position, which heading in here, you had Triolo, you had Liover Peguero, you had Nick Gonzales, and then G1 Bay. That's pretty much like the 4 guys battling it out who all had time last year at this position. And like a lot of uncertainty, I mean, there's certainly some hype on some prospects, something you want to go in there. I think it was clear Jared Triolo played the best out of all of them last year. Kind of limited, but he had a really, really strong ending of this season. But he's the babe of God. Not a lot of people believe in him. The babe of God, right? And he's doing it again this year. How can it happen? Having a strong spring. Peguero, I think, is the guy that you want to see. I think we kind of believe in his talents, right? He has that power, speed combo. He's also having a good spring. Even like Nick Gonzales. Now he doesn't walk at all, but again, it's like 19 at bats or plate appearances he had. But he's hitting the ball pretty hard, 3 doubles, solid enough spring. And then there is G1 Bay. It's whatever. There's one guy that's not. It's probably G1 Bay, but there's a battle going on for second base, and so far it's been a pretty productive battle. What do you guys think?
Jim, you made me go first.
Yeah. Gosh, I love Jared Triolo in that just like super utility role. Like, I'm not saying like he needs to be a bench guy, but like Jared Triolo probably needs to be starting 4 times a week, but like bounce him around, use him to get off days for people, things like that. So right now I'm still leaning like Liover Peguero is like your main second baseman, but Triolo is getting a lot of playing time. And I'm not comparing Jared Triolo to like Josh Harrison, but like remember like Josh Harrison's heyday, right? Like he played almost every day. He just didn't really have a position really to call his own. So that's where I think Triolo would thrive in. Like, play him 1 day a week at first base, play him 1 day a week at second, play him 1 day a week at short. Like, he's shown he can play some shortstop too. I wouldn't mind seeing that. And then, give Brian Hayes a day off at third base every now and then. So like move him around the diamond, and that he's going to play competent defense. He's going to give you somewhat decent major league at bats. And you're going to be able to get the guy 350 to 400 plate appearances just by doing that. But you'll also still be able to get in, everyone else. So I think that's where I'm at right now with second base. I think Nick Gonzales still on the outside looking in. I think a lot has to happen for him to make this team out of spring training. G1 Bay, I think, still has a decent shot at making the team, but more is like that fourth outfielder. But yeah, right now, second base battle, I'm going Peguero as your main guy, but Triolo's getting a good amount of time there.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with this because previously I've said that I want Liover Peguero to be the guy, and I'm in agreement with Jim that I wanted to see Triolo be one of those guys that bounces around and you get to see the defense on full display at multiple positions. But I find myself questioning whether I just fall in love with the upside of Peguero. And I'm ignoring the fact that Triolo could probably be like a 2 to 3 win player as an everyday second baseman by just playing great to elite defense, which I think, at least I assume that he would do. And I know it's the BABIP gods really just shining down on him. But his minor league track record shows he finds a way to hit. If he plays defense at the level that I think we all see he can at second base, we're talking about a 2 to 3 win player, and it's not flashy. But is that better than the potential upside of a Peguero, who maybe we're just hoping for a 2 to 3 win player? Like, is Triolo already what we hope Peguero could be, just value-wise? So I might be leaning more Triolo at this point and just let him get the run every day. And I do worry that he will get overexposed at the plate, kind of like we saw Connor Joe do last year, where at some point you just play him so much that it's kind of like a diminishing returns type of deal with him. But that defense is so good. And the other part of it is that I want to surround O'Neal Cruz with guys beside him that are really good defensively. And when you have Brian Hayes on one side and you have Triolo on the other, you can hide O'Neal Cruz at shortstop a little bit better, I think. The first base situation still needs to be figured out defensively, but I think having those two guys there will benefit O'Neal Cruz at shortstop, and maybe you can get away a little longer with him there than you could if it's a guy that's a little more shaky.
I think that last point's fair. However, are we maybe taking away more from Peguero's glove than we should? Like, I know the arm was the issue with him more or less defensively, but I think he's kind of proven he's got a glove. And it's not as if like you're putting like a bad defender next to O'Neal Cruz on his left side, at second base with Peguero there. So like I get your point. I mean, if you have Brian Hayes and Jared Triolo on each side of you, I don't think there's a better second and third base defensively in baseball, like for O'Neal Cruz, looking in that sense. Like he's got the best guys defensively, right? But I kind of like Peguero's glove, and he's flashed it a little bit this spring. And I guess that's where I'm at too, is I think what's happening right now in spring is the most ideal situation the Pirates could be in, because I want Jared Triolo to be that utility guy. And I get what you're saying, Tyler. And I think he probably could be like a 2. It's the same argument that you have with Cabrian. Just the glove alone, he's a 3-war player. And I think with Jared Triolo, like just his glove alone, he's probably a 2-war player at second base also. But if you're able to replace shortstop one day a week, which you probably want to manage O'Neal a little bit this year, right? With a Jared Triolo outside of an Alika Williams.
Or you move Peguero to short and Triolo play second. Like that's also a possibility.
I think I would rather have Triolo at short.
So I think at that point, I would just move Triolo to short and then play Peguero at second on those days that you want to give O'Neal Cruz a day off. And then I think you can still bounce Triolo around a little bit too, while giving Peguero his at-bats.
Okay,
but
so you kind of want
the
to do the
primary
opposite.
second base spot is going to be Triolo. And then on days off, you can move him around a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm more in line with Jim. I would much rather him have 4 starts a week. Second base, shortstop, even third, first. It doesn't look like it's happening. I would love for him eventually to get into the outfield here and there. It's not going to happen, but whatever. Just add more value. Like you're saying with Jay Hay. And again, like we're not comparing talent-wise. It's just the value-wise, what they do with Triolo. I would love him to have that Jay Hay role. He's playing all over the place because his defense is so good. But I guess what I'm getting at is like this is the most ideal because Peguero is performing. If he wasn't, then it's Jared Triolo's right now locking up second. And now you're wondering, but because Peguero so far, still early, but so far is showing why he was a better prospect, right? And the talent that we've talked about him for some years is so far showing that he's producing right now. And I think if Triolo and Peguero are producing neck and neck, I would much rather have Peguero as my starting second and Triolo the guy that's going all over. And first base also. I wouldn't mind him playing first base, second, third, short.
Yeah, I think an encouraging thing about Peguero too so far, you saw him struggle, making contact last year after coming up. And again, it's spring training, but he hasn't struck out yet this spring. And it's only 16 plate appearances, but when you have a 31.5 strikeout rate last year in the majors, and now you've played 7 spring training games and you haven't struck out yet, that's encouraging to see. So yeah, you're seeing everything that you want to see out of Peguero. You're seeing everything you want to see out of Triolo. I agree. This is a good position to be in. It's better to have this be a tough conversation, I think, right now, than it to be an easy one. Because if it were an easy one, it means that there's really only one choice, and they have 2 choices. And again, I think the upside of Peguero and is definitely more enticing than the upside of Triolo. Triolo's floor definitely higher than Peguero, right? Like Peguero is certainly capable of putting up like a 0-win season if he puts up a dud. Whereas if Triolo doesn't hit, the defense is still going to give you some value. But yeah, right now I would prefer Triolo kind of bounce around, but you still play him like 4 times a week. Like get the guy some at bats. He needs to be in the lineup. He's valuable to you in multiple ways. That's where I'm at with this.
At the end of the day, I think it's a battle that's going to shake out through the season. I think by the end of the year, they're both probably going to end up with close to an equal amount of at-bats. They're going to both play a lot, especially with the new age of baseball with the days off. And Triolo is a perfect guy for that, where he can bounce around. So they're both going to end up with 350, 400 at-bats this year. So really, we're probably talking about this for nothing because they're going to both end up playing a lot of second base.
Well, let me just add this. You say we're talking about this for nothing, but I think the one reason we are talking about it is, again, it's early, but neither is struggling. It would be a different conversation, again, like if Peguero or Triolo was just having an awful spring to date. Both are performing. So, like, our big concern this year was second base. What's going to happen with it? And so far, this battle has been looking pretty good.
At the very least, I will say I feel a lot better about second base this year rather than last year when it was Castro and Bay. I know you love your Castro, but
I'll
Jim, I
say
think your mic
this.
went out.
Oh yeah, can't hear Jim. Well, at any rate, I'll
Poor Jim.
say, yeah, I like the potential of Castro. It's actually kind of similar to Peguero, like the power
little
speed
bit.
combination. I think Castro's kind of came out of nowhere, and like, we saw what he could do. Where Peguero's kind of had this, he's proven a little bit more throughout the minors at least. But I'll say like it was just Castro. It was like the potential of Castro, like that was it. I don't think I was like a firm believer in Bay. This year, I feel like there's better depth. There's more options. But yeah, I was definitely in on Castro.
But yeah, it is similar to Peguero where you start to fall in love with that upside they potentially have.
Talent, baby.
But with Triolo, I feel like we get into this trap where we fall in love with the potential and we just overlook what's there. And I think Triolo's already there. And it's probably silly because he's going to get 4 starts a week no matter what, I think. But I do wonder what would happen if he just got reps every day at second base. How good could he be defensively? And I do feel like he will hit at least close to a major league average level.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you look at like Zip's projections right now for Jared Triolo, they've got him at 110 games played, 470 plate appearances. He's an 83 weighted runs created plus on these projections, and he's still a 1.3 WAR player because of the defense, right? So yeah, if you can be a league average hitter, then that 1.3 ends up being 2.5, right?
Right.
And I think it just comes down to if you can get 2.5 out of Jared Triolo just bouncing him around, but then you can also get 2 out of Peguero as a starting second baseman. Do that.
Also, value-wise, Triolo is going to get dinged because he's going to have to play a good bit of first base. And that defensive ward just hates first baseman. And he's going to have to play a decent bit late in games.
But
that's true. Like, yeah, the games he doesn't start, or maybe late in games, yeah, you move Triolo to first, and he's your first baseman for the last 2 innings.
And again, like this is where I'm at with that. And I get your point in that sense, but like, would you rather Jared Triolo there or Rowdy Tellez? Do you rather have Jared Triolo at short or Lika Williams? Would you rather, like, that's the thing. Like, what doing this does is it limits the really bad players from achieving 200 plus plate appearances, right? So you have Jared Triolo taking away the Alikas and the Rowdies, or like even the Connor Joes to an extent, right? Where he's playing first baseman more than you want to see or whatnot. Like that, again, like that's kind of where I'm at with this. Peguero being at second, and like he can just focus on second base and hopefully become the better player for all the same reasons about Jared Triolo. Like the same mindset for Peguero. Sears, you got second base, it's yours. Be the best person you can be. And now Jared Triolo is running around. He might get dinged, like you're saying in that sense, but it's still a better option than Lika Williams, right? Or Rowdy Tellez late in the game, defensively at first base or whatnot. So like that's where I'm at. Jared Triolo is such a team player that he's going to sacrifice his overall WAR for the better of the team. Such a good guy. That's why the baby gods love him.
Exactly.
He's just such a good guy.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I'll take it. I think both are going to play a big role. And you're seeing what you want to see out of both guys. And there's options
show,
too.
guys.
Well, and there are options too if one of them goes down. Like I don't think Nick Gonzales is. You give him a ton of playing time and it's going to go well, but who knows? Maybe Nick Gonzales for a short spurt at some point in June or July can give you 100 decent plate appearances here and there.
There you have it. Cool. So we talked about the starting pitching battle here, the second base battle. Anything else we want to talk about as far as spring updates, or do we want to get into the breakout game?
Let's get in the breakout game.
I
really
will
have-
say, actually, I want to say one thing with Spring.
Okay.
Just because we haven't really talked to him because he hasn't gotten in really any action. But he played his first spring training game this past week. Joshua Palacios. I'm not quite sure if he is making the team at this point. I don't know if I just froze either, but
You did.
yeah, I don't know why. My camera's been all kinds of weird. But
That
as far
Louisville
as-
internet.
yeah, I don't know what it is. But with Palacios, Kevin Gorman wrote a pretty interesting article today on Trib. If you haven't read it, check it out. But it basically just highlights how he like really dove into like the driveline stuff this offseason. And it's like I said, really good article. And Palacios seems to be extremely confident that like he knew what he was doing wrong, but he didn't really know how to fix it. And so they went to driveline and found out what it was, found out the optimal way to do it. And you know, he's the quotes in here are kind of cool. Like Palacios is in here, you know, I went all tech, straight science. I trust in the science right now. They tell you your preferred stances, preferred angles, and what situations to put yourself in so you move the fastest. I knew what I was doing wrong, but I really wanted to see how it came about. So like really cool stuff in this article that I think if like I just want to see more of Joshua Palacios, and it was a shame that he was hurt to start off the spring. But I am interested to see if there's something different there. Because if he can just tap into something, right? Then yeah, there could maybe be something there. So it's just a storyline to watch for. I didn't really see a whole lot of people talking about that article today, and there was just some neat stuff in there.
What I'll say about Palacios is that I'm rooting for him because he seems like a good clubhouse guy. Seems like a good guy in general. It's just that I don't believe in him. I'm sorry, Josh. I hope you prove me wrong. It's just I seen this story before, man. He's just not good enough, I don't think. He's fun. The story was fun. Like I said, good clubhouse guy. It's just I don't see it with him.
I think that's fair. I mean, I would much rather have a guy who's came out of nowhere, went somewhere else, learned, dove, like went all in with it, come back, and became a better player. And it happened with the Pirates, not as a former Pirate going somewhere else, right? Like, I would love for this story to come true. There would be nothing that would make me happier than if Josh Palacios ended up being like a 2+ WAR player for the Pittsburgh Pirates in 2024. It's just that I also just don't truly believe in it. He just really hasn't been a good player, you know, and it's not as if like he's a 23-year-old prospect coming up, right? He's kind of been around. And if you're a betting person, I'm sure you're going to bet against him. I don't want to, right? Like I'm with Tyler as well. I love Josh Palacios, the person. I feel like I could hang out with him and have a really good time. And he can definitely hit the gritty. If you saw the Instagram, Jack Swinski not able to hit the gritty, Jim. But like, yeah, like Palacios is an awesome dude. I just don't know if I believe in the talent, but we haven't seen it yet. You know, he hasn't given us the ability to talk highly about him in spring. He just came back. So like, yeah, I'll allow him to have a spring and get us talking maybe at the end of it. And if it did work out, fantastic. Because that just makes this team even more better, right? Leave you fans more optimistic about the 2024 Pirates. But again, as it is today, I just don't really believe in it. Can we just say this though?
Mhm.
Regardless, can he just not lead off?
Right. Seriously.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Like I've got to see it, right? But it was a story that caught my eye today. Just a lot of really cool stuff in there. And hey, Henry Davis went to Driveline this offseason, and it's been going really well for him so far this spring. So hey, let's see what Palacios can do. I'm not writing the guy off. That's all.
Fair.
Yeah, I wrote him off.
Cool. I'm not ready
He
to
didn't
write, I
write
think,
back.
anybody off yet.
Yeah,
I wrote him off. He didn't write back.
There have been plenty of people who have figured it out at age 28. Like it happens.
There are. There really are.
Jose Batista. If Josh Palacios could be half of Jose Batista.
I was thinking like Justin Turner or someone like that, but sure, we'll go with Batista and just like stab ourselves in the heart a little bit more, Donardo.
But I will say this: if he turns into Jose Batista, he has to follow everyone on Twitter just like Jose Batista.
Touché.
That's the rules. It's the rules.
Just not get punched in the face like him.
Yeah, I mean, I think a more like Luke Rayleigh. Like you look at somebody like Luke Rayleigh, right? Just quad A guy for years and years and years, and all of a sudden figure something out. Last year goes off at age 28. What if Joshua Palacios is this year's Luke Rayleigh?
Wouldn't it be great to have a guy that just came out of nowhere? We haven't had that in so long.
Matt Joyce, probably the last guy, right? Where he just like,
but he had success before.
Yeah, but like he had his best year, like the 1 year with the Pirates. He like just.
I'd say it's either like Josh Harrison or Garrett Jones.
Garrett Jones was a good one. I mean, he was probably around that 26, 27, 28 too. Yeah. Yeah, like it happens. So
it does.
Yeah. It would be cool if it happened with Palacios.
And the thing is, the good franchises, they always have a guy like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, you know what? I'm on board. Let's go, Josh Palacios. Joshua Palacios.
Yeah,
let's go.
This year's Luke Rayleigh. Let's go.
I'm rooting for him. I just don't see it.
Let me put that up there one more time. All right. So do we want to move on from spring then and into the breakout game?
Yeah, let's do that.
I don't know how much you guys want to talk into this or like what we really want to, but I mean, it's a cool thing. So the Pirates and the Orioles, which they've been playing a lot of games, of course, they're like 10 miles away from each other. But the Pirates and Orioles are going to be playing this MLB Spring Breakout game, which features like all the, the top prospects and such. So of course, Skeens is going to be pitching. The roster's out there. Do we want to put it up? I could probably get it real quick if we want to, but regardless, it's out there. Something pretty fun and interesting. And I think we have intentions of probably doing like an NS9 game day for it, just FYI. But yeah, I don't know, guys. What do you think? How do you like this roster? First off, anything that? Oh, look at you, Jim. I assume.
Yep, that's me.
Definitely not me.
No, I mean the pitching is like I said, the pitching talent in this organization is pretty cool. Couple things strike out to me first. Braxton Ashcraft is on here. Jared Jones is not. So that leads me to believe that Jared Jones is likely, definitely has a much better shot of being on the major league roster, right? But Hunter Barco, we haven't seen a whole lot of him. Bubba Chandler, we saw him for one inning last week.
I think just one, yeah.
Yeah. But like Chandler, Harrington, Skeens, Solometo, Ashcraft, Barco, and then David Matoma in here.
Yes.
From I mean, how old is he now? Like 17 years old. 17, 18 from Uganda, throwing like 174 miles per hour or something like that. So that'll be fun. Like actually having like footage and StatCast data of David Matoma. That will be cool.
By the way, he turned 18 on February 2nd. So freshly 18 years old.
Yeah. So
also, just real quick, thank God it's at LeCom, right?
It's at LeCom. Yeah.
Thank God there is StatCast data.
Yeah. So we'll have StatCast. We'll have everything. We'll have the whole shebang. So that'll be cool to get some data on some of these guys. But yeah, the pitching stands out the most to me. Offensively, we know where the system is offensively, right? it's Termar and everyone else. So that's kind of what this shakes out to. But yeah, the pitching it's going to be exciting, and going up against the Orioles is cool because you'll get to see them go up against some of the best prospects in baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pitching's definitely the intriguing part here. And I am interested to see a little bit more out of Jack Brannigan. We saw a lot of him while we were down there. He looked pretty good. Lonnie White Jr., a little bit interested to see him this year. I'm not a full believer in him, but I'm interested to see what he can do. Mitch Jebb, another guy that Jim loves him to death. And then De Los Santos, Blanco. Yeah. There are some names here, but it's not as interesting as the pitchers for sure.
I think it just kind of shows like the Pirates farm system right now, which is kind of different from like the Orioles. The Orioles got a lot of talent with the bats, right? And I feel like the Pirates are just most of the upper level quality prospects is in the pitching. You're seeing it here, but it's like I want to see De Los Santos. I'm interested in him. Blanco Jr. to an extent, Plaz, Mitch Jebb, Tamar. Like those interesting guys, Shailin Polanco.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like they're still so young and so far away. But like that's the next crop, like next year we're hopefully talking about these guys in the same way you're talking about like the Solomeadows and Chandlers and such. So yeah, like I'm definitely interested in them. And also like you're saying with Lonnie White Jr., I think it's a big year for him. He's kind of been brushed along with that draft class, she was a big part of, a lot of it with injuries and such. But, if he is healthy and he can show like the talent is legit, maybe he helps back on the actual prospect list and what that does for the Pirates even. Lonnie White, like, still far away. He's lost a lot of development, but he can be a talent. It's a big year for him. So here's a start to seeing that, I guess. But yeah, like there's a lot of interesting guys. But again, like for the bats, there's more to be desired, but it's because they're mostly like 18, 19, 20 years old at max. And yeah, so there's that. But like cool thing MLB is doing. I'll say that.
Yeah, they actually have like a good idea. So and the fact that it's on TV, like you can watch it.
I know.
That's kind of cool too.
In the stadium with StatCast.
Yeah. Shout out Pit City What. Appreciate you. Glad you liked everything from spring training.
I also appreciate him for saying black coffee each because these guys do not drink black coffee. They drink some weirdo stuff.
There's not anything weird about like I just go Americano. Now I don't drink it black. Don't get me wrong. I got to add some stuff in there, but like I'm not getting too
black
crazy with my coffee.
All right. Well, some of you guys get like oat milk and God only.
I do oat milk.
Yeah, it was you, weirdo.
Give me my espresso. Get some oat milk in there. We're Gucci, baby.
Just go to the gas station, get a $2 coffee.
No, I'm not going to the gas station. Just
be an adult.
Just gasoline would be cheaper. Just put gas. Just drink from the nozzle.
I would if I could. If it would wake me up, I would.
It probably will. If I'm going to the gas station, I'll just take gas and not actual coffee.
I have a feeling that would put me to sleep.
But because like Wawa, we're down like sheets, like those are technically gas stations. So I guess those are an exception though.
No, I'm talking about the ones that have like the coffee pot.
I know what you're talking of, and that's why I went directly where I went to, but I want to make sure I corrected myself because technically speaking, if you go to like a Sheetz, a Wawa like that, like that's acceptable.
You guys are
black
children.
Coffee is the cheapest. I mean, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And the most delicious.
I disagree on the delicious part, but like if I have to drink it, like I will drink it, but I would prefer it to taste better. So if the tools are there for me to make coffee taste better, I'm going to utilize those tools.
I'm not gonna lie. If I'm out and about and we got a Starbucks nearby, I'm getting something real fancy.
There you go. Yeah, I was saying you were getting what were you getting this
I have
week?
no idea.
You were getting you were getting nitro cold brews.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I literally don't know what I got.
You're getting cold brew.
I usually get a cold brew too. Like if I'm not when I'm at home, I make espressos oat milk. But yeah, I was getting cold brews out there too. Those are my two go-tos. Now that we're talking about coffee, get back to the kids that don't even drink coffee. Well, actually, a lot of them probably do. Yeah. So again, really cool game. And it's kind of funny the Pirates are going to be featured in this. So there's that. Pirates and Orioles. Anything I guess you're taking away or want to see outside of, I guess, Paul Skeens just blowing everyone away?
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of hit everything. NS9 game day that night will be fun. So make sure you've got the game on, you've got us on. We'll be talking about it the entire time. Should be a good time.
Yeah,
Maybe get some guests lined up. Maybe.
I think the most interesting part's going to be the guys that we don't get to see, like a Paul Skeens or a Thomas Harrington or guys in that realm. The Palacios, the De Los Santos, the Barco that you mentioned, guys like that we don't get to see every day and aren't broadcast on TV. That's going to be the interesting part.
Yeah. See, that's fair. Now, what I will say, I'm not denying it. I'm not confirming it. She may not. Livy Dunn is a guest. Nothing's been confirmed yet.
Absolutely nothing's been confirmed there. Yeah.
Nothing's also been sent, but nothing's been confirmed. It's all how you phrase it.
We cannot confirm nor deny that she will be on.
Right. No, it's
I think
very,
it's
very
safe
unlikely.
to say. I think it's safe to say we can deny that.
No,
that
I can't deny that. I don't know
Now
that.
here's the thing. If she sees this and wants to come on and talk about Paul Skeens while he's pitching, we'll allow that probably.
Yeah, actually, it might be more of an us thing that we just don't want her on.
Yeah.
I need to find a way to get in touch because I want a latte.
Ooh, White Monster. There you go.
All right. Well, I guess with that said, is there anything else that we want to dive into before we go?
No, once we start getting into the girlfriends of our number one prospects, I think it's time to
time to
peace
go.
out. Yeah.
Well. All right. So let's get out of here. Before we do, tomorrow, Bucking Around with Neil Walker airs with Cody at noon. So check that out. That was live. Well, as Cody said, live, but not actually live, pre-recorded in Lecon.
Deductions.
And deductions. Yeah. And then with that said, we'll be back with some Starbucks. Actually, no, post-game show on Sunday. Post-game show on Sunday, then Starbucks on Monday. So appreciate y'all for watching. As always, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
See you guys.
Hey,
You all, thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.